In previous videos, I showed you how to write a very simple collector called as ArrayList collector impl class, and we tested that class. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use collector that are predefined in collectors class. So collectors class is like collections class, which is built with several different static methods. And in this video, we are going to see methods toList, toUnmodifiableList, and we will see to Google Guava ImmutableList. First method is toList, Collectors.toList. So over here, I'm getting a dataset of 4 transactions from static method called as getDataset. I'm printing the transaction ID and the transaction origin country. Then I'm streaming it dataset.stream filter transaction country is equal to US, collect all those transactions into a list, and we get result as list of transaction, and this list is an array list. The real implementation is array list, and we are catching that particular array list in interface called as list. We are printing it out again with transaction ID and the country, and we are expecting the result size to be 2 because there are 2 transactions that are of country US, one is of Australia and one is of Canada. So let us run this method and see the results. Input is there are 4 transactions, 2 of United States, 1 of Canada and 1 of Australia. In output, we see 2 transactions that are of United States. Result that we get is a mutable array list. After getting the result, if you say dot add some new transaction, then this will work just fine. So this is a mutable result that you get back. And for most cases, this is just fine. Let us take a look at the code of toList method. So the supplier provided is array list new. List : add is by consumer, that is accumulator. Then 2 results split in parallel, left and right, left dot add all right and return left. This is an accumulator and this is a characteristics. Same thing we had implemented in array list collector impl class that we saw in the previous video. So this is the same code. That was it on toList method. Let us take a look at different method called as toUnmodifiableList. In this method, we are still getting the result as list, but this unmodifiable list returns you a list which you cannot change it structurally, which means you cannot remove or add anything into the returned list. And if you try to do that, you will get unsupported operation exception. This method was introduced in Java 10, and this is part of JEP 269 proposal, where unmodifiable collections were introduced in JDK, and this method is good. The problem with this unmodifiable list method is it takes 3 times the memory. So toList method just takes the data, puts in array list and returns. But unmodifiable list takes 3 times the memory. Why? Let us take a look at it. In toModifiable list implementation, we see that data is inserted into array list first, and in finisher function, it is taking array out of array list, that is list.toArray. So toArray returns a deep copy of an array as an object array, and list.off, that is a static method, accepts this array elements over here. If the array size is 0, 1 or 2, that's okay. It will just create 0, 1 or 2 elements. But if the size is greater than 2, then it is going to go to this constructor and deep copy all the elements again, which means it took 3 times the space. End space in array list, then object array that came in the input over here, and this temp array that becomes the element 3 times. So when you are using toUnmodifiable list, you know that you are using more memory. And for most of the cases that may be fine. But if you want an unmodifiable list without using more space, you can write codes like this, collecting and then collectors.toList and collections unmodifiable list. We will take a look at this constructor later and I will tell you how this works. But for now, assume the fact that you can do something like toUnmodifiable list using collecting and then collector. Let me run this method. run to unmodifiable list, run to unmodifiable list. So 2 transactions came in as US transaction in our output. To Guava immutable list. In order to go ahead and use the collectors of Google Guava, initially people used to write their own collectors, but Google Guava came up with their own collector code and you can just go ahead and use it. It returns a collector of immutable list. And you can just plug it in .collect method and it will return you the immutable list. Let me do debug and I will show you that it returns an immutable list. Here, regular immutable list. This is the class that implements immutable list, and immutable list is an abstract class and regular immutable list is a concrete class. That is all on collecting data into collector using toList, to unmodifiable list and to immutable list. Now this is code of third-party library. So you will need to import Google Guava's latest version. Thank you.